without even thinking about it. I mean, this is home. It's huge to, I mean, as a player to feel that they are really investing in the core and betting on us, and I think that we feel the same way. And I mean, that's ultimately why I wanted to stay for 8 years. Is I wanted to give it a run to try to win the cup. I mean, that's been my last talks here before I signed, was how important that was to me.
What does William Nylander's new deal mean for Mitch Marner as Martin Jones stays hot between the pipes? Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And guys, William Nylander finally signing on the dotted line this week on that 8-year, $92 million extension. And as we look ahead, GM Brad Treliving has more work to do with Mitch Marner eligible for an extension next summer. Terry, we'll start with you. What do you think the Nylander deal might signal for Marner moving forward?
Well, it kind of, I don't know what it signals necessarily, but I think what it tells us is where Marner is likely going to land now with his next contract, provided that everything goes smoothly with the Maple Leafs. And that's somewhere between the 11 and a half that Willie will start earning next year and the 13 and a quarter that Austin will start earning next year. So that would be the guess. We'll see if Darren Ferris has something different to say about that once he starts negotiating with Brad for living. I would imagine that they'll have those initial talks on July 1 or shortly thereafter when they're eligible and go from there. But that would be my expectation. He shouldn't, and I don't think will get Austin Matthews money, but with Nylander getting that much over the next 8 years, 11 and a half, I think you can make the case with Mitch's history and having done it for a longer and more consistent time than Willie has, the production and everything else, that it will fall above that, but below what Austin's going to get.
Well, Terry, I guess there's the perception, believe it or not, that Marner's suddenly fallen off the map here to a small degree, just based on the season Nylander's having and based how well Matthews has played. You look at his play last night, certainly, again, solid 3 or 4 point game albeit against a beatable opponent. But, there's been something missing from his game. He'll tell you that. It's not to say it's not going to come back and not going to. He'll have the impact that he's always had. But I think there's maybe something to prove here for Marner in coming year, this year, next year, and it will be interesting to see where he is, because the Leafs really have no. They just can't have a lot of largesse here. Just open the checkbook for him, and a lot of it with all these guys, Terry, is going to be based on what they do in playoffs.
It will be, and it's of those three players though. It's funny, they've all played 50 playoff games, the three of them, and Marner is 47 points. I think Matthews at 44, and Nylander's at 40. So this idea that Mitch doesn't show up in the playoffs either is not a great narrative. The fact is the Leafs haven't won in the playoffs, of course, and that's the biggest factor here. But you know what? Even if Marner has an off year, he's still on pace for 90 plus points right now, or thereabouts, or high 80s, and given where the salary cap is going and, the other contracts that we're going to see across the league coming across the board in the next several years, I just think it's going to happen there. And again, with Marner too, an off year for him, I don't even know if we can call it that, is still the damn good year for just about everyone else in the league. So, like I said, the X factor is Darren Ferris. No negotiations go smoothly with him, and that's fine. He always wants to get the best for his client. And I don't think it'll be different for Marner.
Well, while Leafs fans may quibble with some of the larger dollar contracts Brad Treliving has signed last off-season, Lance, it's hard to argue with some of the bargain deals he inked with the likes of Simone Benoit, Noah Gregor, and Martin Jones especially playing well. When it comes to Jones, Lance, barring injury, has he cemented a spot on the Maple Leafs roster?
Well, it's going to make it quite difficult when Joseph Wall comes back, certainly to, not to ignore him, certainly. And, of course, the wild card in all this will be Ilya Samsonov, who's still a ways away from, A, coming back to the Leafs, and B, finding any kind of consistency. Really like what Jones has done. We see why Toronto has had those, Toronto really wanted to get this guy through waivers this year. Who's to tell what more points they would have had, or maybe what playoff success they might have had if they had a really reliable number two to fall back on like this guy. But he's done his job. He's brought stability to the position. He's got playoff experience if they get that far. And I would keep running him. I mean, there's no reason to bring in Dennis Hildeby except maybe in a back-to-back situation. Again, you still don't know what Samsonov is going to do, but I wouldn't totally count Samsonov off before the end of this year doing something. It'll be interesting to see what this full week off has done. For all his struggles, he only lost a couple of regulation games. I think it's correctable for him, but he may have missed his spot on the bus, so to speak, the way Martin Jones has played.
Well, the way Jones is playing, Samsonov can take all the time he wants. There's no reason to rush. Not that the Leafs were going to rush anything anyway. Well, maybe they would have had Jones faltered, but he hasn't. Sheldon Keefe put it exactly the way everyone's thinking last night. The goals that were going, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said the goals that were going in before are not now. Why? Because Samsonov is no longer on the roster. So he might get another look, but maybe for a game or two, because if it's back to what he was doing, he'll be gone again, and that'll be that. I don't think there's much of a, I don't know. As far as Jones goes, like Lance says, keep going with him. Like Hildeby, I thought might have got in last night if he's going to get in a game. He certainly, I don't think he'll play on the island Thursday against the Islanders. And this back-to-back this week, at home, Jones's travel is nil, right? So there's not going to be much stress in the body. Now, the interesting factor for me is you get the tougher opponent, the Colorado Avalanche, first on Saturday before Detroit comes in Sunday. So we'll see how that shapes up. But Jones is a veteran. He's 400 plus games in the NHL, and really this shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, he played 40 plus games last year for Seattle, and is just come in and been solid and excellent and calm and collected and all those other things. Basically everything that Samsonov wasn't doing. And when Walt comes back, he's been on the ice now. Keefe is still pushing the idea that, or pushing away the idea that he gets back soon. I think we're looking post All-Star break, but he comes back, let him get back into a groove. But Jones, at the least, would be your backup then. I just as long as he stays healthy.
I would add one thing. The schedule's about to get a lot tougher for the Maple Leafs. This is going to be a bigger strain on Jones and the whole team. They're playing a lot of playoff contention teams from here on into the All-Star break.
Yeah, and as you guys said, who knows where this team would be without the play of one Martin Jones. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below or send us an email at torontomapleleafs@postmedia.com. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.